Today, something strange is happening in America's housing market. In June, home prices hit an all-time high. That's right, a record. The national median existing home price surged to $435,000, the highest we've ever seen. And yet, in the exact same month, existing home sales dropped to their lowest level in nearly a year. Sales were down 2.7% from the month before. So what's going on? If prices are so high, shouldn't the market be booming? And if sales are down, doesn't that mean we are in a housing crash? Well, no. What we're seeing is not a boom, it's not even a bust. It's something worse. It's a freeze, stagnation. Across the country, Americans are stuck. Buyers can't afford to buy. Sellers don't want to sell. Mortgage rates are sky high. And the Fed, they're just watching. Today, we're going to break down exactly why the housing markets feel broken, why it's not crashing yet, and what President Donald Trump wants to do about it. Spoiler, it involves wiping out taxes on home sales entirely. And yes, it would change everything. Let's start with the confusion. People across the country are hearing two different stories. One says the housing market is collapsing. The other says it's soaring. And the truth is, it depends on where you live. Home prices are falling in about one-third of US metro areas. But that means they're staying flat or climbing in two-thirds. In places like Florida and Texas, we're seeing a noticeable drop in prices. But in Midwest and the Northeast, they're still rising. So no, this is not a crash. It's a regional standoff. But the bigger picture is clear. Despite price cuts in some cities, the national average is still up 2% year over year. That's not collapse. That's record setting. And for the average American trying to buy their first home, it feels impossible. Because on top of high prices, we've got another problem, interest rates. Right now, the average 30-year fixed mortgage is hovering around 6.8%. That's more than double what it was just a few years ago. For many families, that means the difference between buying a home and staying put may be forever. Because if you already own a home with 3% mortgage, why on earth would you sell and take on a new one at 7%? The result, sellers are holding. Buyers are sidelined, and inventory, while slowly rising, is still far below pre-pandemic levels. There are about 1.97 million homes for sale right now. That sounds like a lot until you remember that pre-COVID that number was closer to 2.5 million. We're still in a shortage, and that shortage is keeping prices high. So what is the Federal Reserve doing to fix this? Nothing. Jerome Powell and the Fed have not cut rates. They haven't offered any relief, and they've given no clear indication that they will. Why? Because they're afraid of inflation. They're terrified that lowering rates will juice the economy too much, push up prices, and make their problem worse. So instead, they've chosen to do what Washington does best. Absolutely nothing. Now, enter Donald Trump. Trump has never been shy about real estate. He built his empire on buildings. And now, he's calling out the Fed directly. Trump says the Federal Reserve is choking the housing market by keeping interest rates too high for too long. And he's got a new idea to fix it, a bold one. He wants to eliminate all capital gains taxes on home sales. Let that sink in. No tax on home sale profits. If you sell your house and make $300,000 in profit, you keep every dollar. Under current law, individuals can exclude up to $250,000 of profit. Married couples get $500,000. Anything beyond that, taxed. Trump wants to throw out those limits completely. And he's not alone. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has introduced the No Tax on Home Sales Act in the House of Representatives. The idea is simple: make it easier and more profitable for people to sell their homes. Let the market with supply and bring prices down. According to the National Association of Realtors, 29 million Americans would exceed the current tax-free limit if they sold today. That means tens of millions of people stand to benefit from this plan. But let's be clear, Trump can do this by executive order. It would take an act of Congress. And while he supports the bill, we all know how slow and dysfunctional Washington is. And of course, let's not pretend this does not help Trump and his real estate friends. Eliminating capital gains taxes on home sales would be a massive financial win for people who own luxury property. The kind of people who throw fundraisers in the Hamptons, not working families in Akron. But even if Congress passed it, would it actually solve the problem? Maybe. It would certainly increase inventory. People who've held their homes for decades might finally cash out. But that does not solve the bigger issue: mortgage interest rates. Even if you eliminate capital gains tax, buyers still have to afford the monthly payment. And with rates near 7%, that's a stretch for most Americans. In fact, the Mortgage Bankers Association predicts mortgage rates will stay flat at 6.8% through September. The National Association of Realtors is slightly more optimistic, guessing 6.4%. But still, these are crushing numbers for working families. And here's the kicker: even if the Fed does lower short-term interest rates, there is no guarantee that mortgage rates will follow. Why? Because mortgage rates are tied more to the 10-year Treasury yield than the Fed funds rate. And that market does not always react the way the Fed wants it to. Yes, the Fed could step in and buy 10 and 30-year treasuries to bring rates down. But that's a drastic measure. And Jerome Powell does not seem to have the stomach for it. So for now, expect the market to stay frozen. Prices high, sales low, rates stuck. And the American dream further out of reach. Here is a timeline you need to watch. Powell's term ends in spring 2026, and Trump may appoint a new Fed chair. And that new chair will likely slash rates hard and fast. We could see major changes in 2026, but until then, don't expect miracles. So, where does that leave you? If you're a buyer, be patient. If you're a seller, know your window may be closing. And if you're a politician, try doing something other than grandstanding on TV, because this market is not healthy. It's not functional, and it's not fair. Today, the message is simple: the housing market is broken. Prices are high, rates are high, confidence is low, and leadership nowhere to be found. But the people are not stupid. We see the game, we know who benefits, and we know who's paying the price. We all are. Leave a comment, let us know what it's like in your market. Are homes selling? Are prices dropping? Or is everything just stuck like the rest of the country? We'll be watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.